Hello. Hello. Hello everyone. Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome. Starting another stream of Plane Shift. Let's go. We never give up, my boys. We never give up. So I want to continue with the stuff that we were doing, but I was a bit overwhelmed by the amount, right? So I mean, fixing all the NPC and fixing all the items and fixing, I mean, it could continue for quite a bit. So I want to change the topic and do something else. And I was thinking, right, at the Game Master events and how those are run, and to give more possibility to have different players also of different power, right, or different ranks, to actually participate to an event a bit more equally, right? Because obviously if you are a player that is veteran player, is like 200 maxed out on everything, it is kind of hard, right, to compete if you are a new player, right? So it's not very easy. But you know, our game is also about role play. It's also about storytelling and all of that. So usually in the Game Master events, there is a lot of role play and storytelling more than just pure combat, right? So it's it's rare that we have massive combat events, because again, if you're a new player, if you're a veteran player, it's changing so much, right? The veteran player can basically snap his fingers and destroy, you know, whatever is in front of him, right? While a new player would be like instantly smashed, right, by an enemy. So it must be, so the role play aspect is helping that, right? So that everyone can participate. And I was thinking, how many times in a normal Dungeons and Dragons session there are those possibilities, right? Which are usually based on, which usually are ability checks, right? So you have a door that is broken and stuck, and you have to move it and you have to open it, and so you do like a strength check, right? Or you have to walk on a rope between two buildings and you do an agility check, right? And or you have to solve a riddle or a puzzle or something and you do an intelligence check, right? Or you have to convince someone and you do a charisma check, right? So, and so on. So I think that would be nice to have the possibility to do it in our game as well, considering that we are focusing on the role play aspect and you know, creating more of a world where you can have fun with, more than just, you know, pure combat. Obviously combat is part of role-playing games, right? So it's not that I don't want to have it, right? I want to have it, but and we have it, but probably it's not a very great system. It's a very simple system, but yeah, the idea would be to allow to roll dice on abilities. There is something that at the moment you cannot do. So we have a roll command, right? But the roll command is fairly simple, meaning that let me switch gears meanwhile. It's fairly simple in the sense that you can specify the number of dice you want to roll and the dice type, right? And it's doing the roll. Pretty much. So is, yeah, how many dice, the number of sides, and if you don't specify anything is 1d6. And if the word count is 2, whatever. Yeah, so yeah, I would like to change, I mean, I would like to enhance this, right? I don't know if I really like the fact that if you roll without any parameter, automatically is 1d6. So basically this does not allow to give an help, right? To give a syntax. I don't understand what he's doing here. So I understand if there is only one word. Because the one word is /roll. Okay. So basically there is no parameters. No parameters given, right? And there is one parameter. I mean, it's saying 2 because there is also the /roll, but okay, cannot type. One parameter given is the number of sides, right? Right? And if you have 3 parameters, then, well, 2 parameters, right? Then is dice type. Yeah, but you see that here is weird, right? So it is inverting dice and sides. Why? Because it's like roll 6d6. I see. Yeah, so these are inverted. This target, I don't remember what is the target actually. I think I would like to remove this, or maybe we can add an help parameter that is giving you this syntax, because at the moment this is not, well, maybe you have it in the description in game, but I think very few will read it. But yeah, we have a help window where you have all the commands, but most likely no one is gonna read it. Why I'm so low? Wow. times size mean value. Interesting. Not bad. Let's say it's not very user-friendly in the syntax, right? Because 2-6, I mean, I think it would be better if it is something like 2d6, right? At least in all the program I've used, is always 2d6, 1d10, 1, right? So you also have the d in between, so you know what you are doing. Is way more intuitive, right? Is way more intuitive, and I don't know if I like the fact that it defaults to a d6. I think it's just confusing. This one is pretty cool though. That is telling you how many of those dice had, because it's not showing you the results, right? It's not showing you the result. Well, it's showing you the result if you don't put a target. Yeah. So if you don't put a target, because my idea of rolling on abilities is, I think it would be nice if there is a dice here, right? That would be very cool. So you can roll, you know, you can click on the dice and basically roll that ability without having to type anything. That would be nice. And in theory can work for any, I don't know if it should work for any ability or not, right? But in theory, yes. Now, can you roll on can you roll on a specific talent, a specific action? Probably not. Now, the only thing that I'm thinking is that if I make it text only, there are some skills that are very hard to type. Like, for example, mace and hammer, right? Mace and hammer. So you will have to type /roll and then mace and hammer, right? But probably not even, because there are spaces in between, and so your only possibility would be to put it in quotes, right? So it starts to be a kind of a command, right? /roll mace and hammer. It's kind of annoying. In theory, we could use the skill number, but the skill number, no one will know it, right? So I think having a small dice next to the skill is a good idea. I mean, people will be a bit confused by it, the one that are not role playing normally, right? But we can say, why what I'm doing, right? I'm rolling a dice on an ability and it does nothing. It just puts something in the chat, right? But yeah. In theory, you could do it for everything. Do we still have this Argan thingy? Why we have the skills that are not implemented anyway in the list? It's pretty weird. They should not be here. If you have any ideas, let me know, guys. Huh? I'm just reasoning on the best way to do this. I'm just reasoning on the easiest way. I mean, for the stats, it's kind of easy because you can say agi, cha, and int, str, will, right? So that's very easy. I mean, we can also shorten, right? We can also shorten this ones. In theory, we can. I don't know if they are all different, but in theory we can. We can use the long version and the short version. Why not? We can have a converter of this thing, right? That is just converting one into the other. And which basically means taking the first word of the skill, pretty much, right? Yeah, I think so. There should be no duplicates. Find. No, I don't think there are any duplicates. So in theory, we can take the first word of everything. Yeah, but I definitely need okay, so so let me think about it a second, huh? So how do we know if we are rolling? How do we know if we are rolling an ability or a skill? Just by name. I think we need to have a function, a very simple function that is just deriving the skill ID from a text, right? Whatever it is. Are we doing this already anywhere in the game? I don't think so. I mean, obviously we have a get skill by name. We have a get skill ID by name. I mean, I'm pretty sure we do. Probably in Cache Manager, right? If I go Cache Manager and I do like get skill by name, right? And I do get skill by name, or we change this function because this function is fairly simple. I think we can create a variation of this, right? That is used only for rolling a dice. This one is in a hash. So this one is slightly, I mean, it's cheating a bit. Because this one is actually not going by, but I could do something similar, right? I could still pass the name and just cut it off. Yeah. I think we can have something similar to this, which is guess the skill ID by name using a loose match, right? Using a loose match. And the loose match, so example, agi equal agility, right? Or light equal light armor, right? The only problem is, how the hell do we do the reverse? It's not super easy. I mean, I can cache all the first word, or I can just have them in an array and GG. Because anyway, they will never change. Yeah. So I can probably try exact match first. So this will be get skill by name. I don't know if I want to call it lose or get skill by name extended or something like that. Get skill by name at all cost. Lose. I can call it lose match, right? I can call it lose match. So the difference here that we definitely try first the exact match, right? So if this is returning an exact match, I think we are good. I don't know exactly what this thing is returning. Is returning a pointer, right, to skill info. Okay. So if this is valid, obviously we just return it, right? Easy. Now, if this is not found, what do we do next? I think we should do the first word, right? I think we have a thing called word array. Do we still have this thing or no? Yeah, this one we use, huh? I mean, which at the end is pretty much the same of doing a parse array, right, into, but anyway. So we do word array of our name. Sorry, how do we use this thing? sorry. Word array, words, right? Words name, yeah, like this. And then we have, I think we have a words count, right? So it is just counting how many words we have. So I think we can say that if word count is greater than 1, right? Then we can try to match the first word. And at that point, if it's not matched, I think we are done, right? Because, yeah. So try the first word with multi-word. So if it's greater than 1, we pretty much do the same as this, right? So we search it with words of 0, because we are sure that the first one exists, right? Assuming that 0, I hope it starts from 0. Yeah, the array is 0 based. And if we find the skill, we return. Now, if we don't find the skill, I think unfortunately in this case we cannot go forward because because if it's 2 words, I cannot really take the oh no, wait, I'm doing something stupid. I have to do the opposite of this. No, wait, this is the opposite. I mean this means try the first word of known skills, right? And I think here we need a defined array that probably we can load once and forever. I think we can have it in Cache Manager somewhere. It can be just a default definition, and it can be all the skill names first word, right? So that's the easiest way. How do I do it? Well, I just need an array of strings somewhere. I just need an array of strings. I think we can put it anywhere. I think we have similar ones like when we convert the slot names, right? I think I have something very similar when we do the slot names. Well, here I'm doing it a bit more complex. I think here I'm doing basically doing a T-map. Do we need a T-map? No, I don't think we need a T-map. I think we just need a super simple array. A super simple array of. I don't know if I want to do an array of f strings or I just want to do an old style. Can I do a T array of f strings without going crazy? Being explicit. Why my PC is fucked up? I mean, it doesn't answer. Huh? Hello, Ulla. Good evening. Why my PC is upset by something? I mean, true, I have the client open, but I don't know. Seems to be a bit upset by. So can I do it in one line or not? I don't want to do add. I just want to do it in one line. Can I do it in one line like this? Can I? Maybe I can. Anyway, we can put it anywhere in Cache Manager. I don't know if I want to put it in Cache Manager. I want to put it in Progression Manager because there's a list of skills. We don't have a skill manager. We have an ability manager. We have a progression manager, but we don't have a skill manager. I think I can just put it randomly in Cache Manager. Do I want to put it in a specific place? I don't think so. I think we can have a function that is just extracting. I don't know if I want to do it by ID directly, right? So I don't do the search twice, but basically I will need no, but it's probably simpler than that because I already have all the skills, right? Why I don't just, instead of creating an array, why I don't just read the skills? Yeah, probably I can, because in theory it's not super quick. Basically I will have to read all the skills, split them, and yeah, I think I should do it at startup. So when Cache Manager is start, yeah, exactly. Let's do it up front so it's done only once, and I think it's a better idea. So I will have, let me see if I have already the skill. Well, for sure I have the skills, right? When I do preload skills, I'm loading. I'm putting them here. I'm putting them inside skill info hash, skill info name hash, skill info category hash. So in theory, I should have something similar that is. Do I want to have the mapping with the real skill? Probably yes. So I have a T map of So basically the same as this, but just with the first word. But this means that it will work for all the ones that are one word only. It will extract from here. Yeah, I think we can do this. I think we can do this. I think we can call it name short. The problem here is if I want to have the first three letters or not. I don't think so. I think we want to have it only. I think we want to have it only in this case. I think we want to have it in this, we want to have it like this, so that actually it's not name short, but it's like name first first word. But anyway, I think it's okay. We can call it name short. I think we can live with that. So basically what I will do, I will add to name short on initial loading, with the difference that here I will get wait, let me do this though, because I think it's better to do it later. Yeah, so that is not. So where I basically will get the first word of this, right? I don't know if I want to do a parsing to array or I want to do again my word array, right? Probably I want to do again my word array. My word array I think is doing nothing else than parsing into... Well, it's doing a bit more because it's like ignoring quotes and... but pretty much it's the same thing, right? I think it's not particularly fast, but... Oh my god, what is this? What is this thing? Because it's also excluding all the possible... Nah, I think it's overkill. Okay, I understand. So is it because this one is really done by... is really done for... You know what is the problem? The problem is that if the player is putting the quotes... okay, let's do just a standard parsing to array, which I think is the easiest, right? With the space, right? And so here, no matter, so I mean, unless this is empty, but we don't have any empty, right? So this should always work, right? We just get 0, right? We just get 0. Oh no, sorry, there is a word array. It's not a word array anymore. We just get 0. And we put the skill, right? So this will be, for all the ones that are single word, it will be that word. For the one that have 2 words or more, it will be the first word, right? So if you do it like this, it's done one time in preloading, so it's very quick. It's done only once and GG. Now, the question is, can we then... who's using this? Yeah, we can use it here directly pretty much, right? We are already in the same area, so it's fine. So first we search here for the full name. Then we try the first word of the known skills, and basically what we have to do, we have to check if this is equal to my, right? If this is equal to my name. But I don't need any of this anymore, because now we do it on the other side, right? So all of this is not needed anymore. No. Yeah, so this is not needed. because we already pre-parsed that this is only the first word, right? And if we find it, we return it. Now, if we don't find it at this point, so the first, so the word that I'm typing is not that word, then I can probably try the first 3 letters. Right? But to have the first 3 letters, I have the same problem. So I need another hash, right? Which is the easiest and the quickest. So I don't spend any time at runtime at right? Now the only problem is that if you are trying to type LIG and this already corresponds to something else, you know, it may fuck up, right? But it will tell you anyway what you are rolling, so I think it's okay. I think it's pretty much okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit weird, but I think at the end I like it. It is a bit weird, I have to say. But that's fine. Our game is a bit weird, so it's okay. So we get the first 3 letters. If it doesn't have at least 3 letters, now it's impossible. All our skills have at least 3 letters. So we do left. Left of 3. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So basically, so it is the same as that, just with our okay. Like this. Yeah, if unfortunately, if we don't get it, then we return null, right? This is basically giving you a loose match, you know, whatever you are typing. You can type just 3 letters and it works. If you type the full name and you don't put it into quotes, I think it will actually not work. I think if you, yeah. I think in that case it's not gonna work. Because it will take, well, no, well, we'll take the first word. It will take the first word, right? Yeah. Okay, so now what we can do, now that we have that, right? Now we have that. We can, now the only problem we need to decide, yeah, we have to identify if the first parameter is a number or not. So if the first parameter is not a number, I think we have to identify this immediately, because otherwise, yeah, I think I will do the check first, right? Check if the first if is a number. So, but we have to be sure that word count is greater than 1. Eh? We have to be sure the word count is greater than 1. And if it's greater than 1, in reality, check if the first parameter is not a number. Right? Then it's an ability or something. Maybe an ability. Check the first parameter is not a number. So if it's greater than 1, what do? We get the first word, right? And we pass it through our loose match, right? And we pass it through our loose match. Our loose match is already doing upper of everything, right? So it should be fine. So this will basically tell us if now if you type 1 or 2, if you type 1 or 2, no, but we need to check that it's not a number, right? Because otherwise, we need to is numeric. Returns true if the string only contains numeric character. Okay. So if I say if it's not numeric, so if there is at least one parameter and is not numeric, we can go through this, right? And then if we find the skill, we can apply our logic and return. But if we don't find the skill, then what do? We return anyway, because then is an invalid thing, right? Like if I say slash roll, and then I put blah blah blah. It's doing something very weird. Yeah, it's basically not working. So it's defaulting to 1, I don't know why. Because it's trying to convert it to a number, right? Which is probably 0, and then here is clamping it to proper values, right? Yeah. Now I think if it's not a if the first word is not a number, we can exit from this, right? Okay. So if the skill is not found, I think we need to return first of all. but we also need to say something to the player, right? So we need to tell him, not everyone, we just need to tell him that he rolled a wrong thing, right? Something like this, right? So we will say something like invalid parameter, right? And we can probably say here what is the syntax. The problem of the syntax is that it's very long, right? So the syntax overall is insane because you have a number, so you have dice, you have, I don't know, there are 3 different syntaxes, right? So there is roll, dice number, and sides. There is roll, dice number, sides, and I don't know if I can have a /n into this, and target, right? Or you can have do you think I can use /n into this thing or no? Or you can have ability. Well, actually, it's not really true because you can also do this. You can also do only dice number, right? Dice type, sides. Now, if it's only one parameter, okay, I don't know why if it's only one parameter is automatically. Is the sides and not the number, right? That's kind of weird. That is super confusing, by the way. The fact that if it's one parameter is the sides, and if it's like you say roll 10, and he's rolling a d10. You say roll 10 6, and he's rolling 10 d6, right? So it's, I don't know, it's a bit weird. But anyway, I don't want to change it because if I change it, then I have to change the help file and GG. I'm too lazy for that. Too lazy. This thing didn't log in. Why? Should log in now. With the followers count and the... Oh, it's not working. Uh-oh. Why is it not working? No! Okay, it's working now. 888. Someone remove the follow. No! Someone remove the follow. Why? That's okay. Okay. Instead of going forward, we're going backward, guys. So I should do followers 888 out of 0. So trying to reach 0. No. Okay, so if we don't find the skill, we just give him this message, right? If we find the skill, then we can roll on skill. I don't know why I have my client open, by the way. I think it's a bit useless. If I find the skill, now here we have to decide. Here we have to decide the theory, though. Here we have to decide the theory. Ha! Ha! That is not very easy, my boys. Wow, has so many bookmarks. Here we have to decide how to roll it, right? Because so obviously the player cannot put in a difficulty factor, right? So the difficulty factor will be decided by the game master. So the game master says, I want at least a 150 for this particular, you know, door to open. And now the only problem we have is that we have skills and stats, and they have different top. No, well, but I can do it by, yeah, I can do it by. Wait. Didn't I have a max skill? Probably is under PS Const. Exactly. Stats and skills, right? Stats and skills. So stats go up to 400 at the moment. Skills go up to 200. So if I roll a dice on stats, I will have to roll a D400. Yeah. I would have to roll a D400 and then add the stats on top of it. And if I roll a skill, it should be a D200. I can easily check if my skill is an ability or if it's a stats or a skill, because they are but I can probably have a function, right? I don't know if I already have it in Cache Manager or in Skill Info. So yeah, stats 400, skill 200. I don't know if I have an is. We have an is special. But we don't have an is a stat or is skill. I think we should have I think this one is very simple because his stat can just return can just return if the ID can just return if the ID is greater than I mean, it's in this range, right? Yeah. Right, and wheel is the maximum. Yeah, so it's just if it's between these two values, sorry, if it's between these two values, then it is a stat. Otherwise, it's a skill. Okay. Skill, for example, I don't know, mining, right? Or Crystal Way, right? So basically here, right? So if is a stat, we have to roll right. So if so if stat is true, we roll a D400, right? Otherwise, we roll a D200. Now it's a bit weird to roll a D400, right? I mean, imagine this dice. What is the biggest dice that ever existed? I don't know. Biggest dice or die. Biggest dice ever created. The biggest dice ever created in terms of the number of sides is the D120. I mean, only? Wow. I was expecting way more than that. The die with the most side ever created is a 100 side dice. This is saying 100, you're just saying 120. Yeah, because at a certain point it becomes a sphere, right? So you cannot stop it. Well, in theory you can throw two D100, right? Or four D100. Right, it's just a bit weird to think about it. So, because I need the 400, right? I need the maximum skill so that you can still make it. Do we want that you still make it or not? I don't know. I don't know what I want here. Because if you roll a D400 and you make the result is 400, right? basically is like if you have 400 in that stat, right? So how do I want to roll on a stat? Let's analyze all the systems, right? So like in D&D, you roll a d20 and you check if you are doing better than, no, you are doing below your skill, right? So if you have 17 in strength, you roll and you see if you are within 17, right? While, for example, in Cyberpunk is the opposite. So you roll on a d10 and you add on top of the d10 your skill or stat. So for example, I don't know, you have 10, right? You roll a 5, your result is 15, and the game master decides that the difficulty is 15, right? And so you make it, and so you make the roll, right? So I think the problem of the first system is that obviously for players that are very new, I mean, it doesn't really make a sense on skills. It makes sense on stats, right? That should it be different between stats and skills? Should it be different between stats and skills? Like rolling below your value to succeed, or rolling plus your value against a fixed target, right? Because what is a bit weird of rolling on skill is that you may have 10 in Sword, right? It doesn't really make sense that I tell you roll within your 10, right? It doesn't really make sense logically, right? I say, okay, roll a d400, you have to do below 10, right? So it's exactly the opposite. But if I think about it on stats, then it makes sense, right? So you are rolling a number, and if you stay within, you have more chances to make it. Now, if I am a game master and I'm saying, please guys, do a strength check, right? Everyone rolls it, and it's pretty much independent of how much strength they have. I mean, it's up to me to evaluate, but actually it's not very fair, because if someone only has 10 strength and rolls a 9, or someone has 18 strength and rolls a 17, right? It's not exactly the same result, right? So the one with strength 10 will have less chances to move the boulder or whatever it needs to be moved with strength, right? So I'm starting to question if my idea is a good idea. Okay, let's speak with ChatGPT, because you are completely silent as usual, so you're not helping me at all. So now I want to expand the system to allow the player to do a stats check, agility, strength, right? Agility, strength, endurance, etc. Or a skill check, right? Which is, for example, sword, you know, lock picking, sword, lock picking, herbalism, etc. Right? The problem I have is that I would not enter the problem of the I would not give him the problem of the 200 400. I think it's just confusing him, but the problem I have, what is the problem I have? The problem I have is that I think on the ability is that on the stats I have a range on 1 to 400, right? The problem, I think the major difference with a D&D type of game is that the distance between a player with very low strength and a player with very high strength is not that much from the dice point of view, right? Because a player may have minimum, I don't know, 6 strength, 7 strength, 8 strength, right? But not 2. So it's about 50%, right? So between 8 and 18, right, is about 50%, right, of difference. While in my case, a player may have 50 strength and the other may have 400. Well, maybe it's a bit extreme, but it's kind of between 6 and 20, it's pretty much the same, actually. Between 6 and 20 is pretty much the same. Huh? Yeah, in theory, it's not that different because we cannot go below 50. I think the minimum stats is pretty much 50. So it's basically twice, right? Because between 5 and 200, 50 and 200, while we have 50 and 400. So we have a big distance between, yeah, so it's double, right? And this double, I don't know if it's fucking up my reasoning. Like, 2 players are doing the same check, and 1 player, the one with the 50. So I have a range of 1 to 400. Usually a just created player has about 50 in a stat, right? A maxed out player can have up to 400, right? Which I don't know how many have, but I think that some have, right? So if a GM asks the players to roll on strength, right? If the GM asks the player to roll on strength, and the new player rolls 40 out of 50, and a maxed out player rolls 300 out of, or 390 or 350, whatever, 370 out of 400, right? One-fifth, huh? 400 divided by 5, 80. Okay, so is the same as 220, 320, right? 320. Yes. So, and a maxed out player rolls 320 out of 400, right? Is it really the same, right? I mean, both succeeded, but if you don't put a threshold, a minimum threshold, right? Both succeeded, right? But the result is so different, right? So yeah, where you have a wide numerical range, yeah, exactly. Stats are from 1 to 400. Player 50 simple roll strength. We put in a different number. There's no way to guess exactly. So what? So what do we do? Normalize the stats into a percentage-based roll. Well, it's the same. Roll a D100. Compare the result to the character stats as a percentage of 400. For example, 50, 20, 12%, 80%. Well, basically what you are doing a difficulty check then, not a stat check anymore. What do you mean is far more likely to succeed? Yeah, you're basically doing a check on 400 for both, but so he's saying no, but sorry, I don't understand here. I mean, isn't exactly the same. Or you are asking to roll on. So it's basically if you are asking the player to roll on a D400, right? But it's the same. It's the same that I did now. So it's already like this. I don't understand what is the difference he's explaining here. I mean, he has way less chance, true. But he's still rolling on a 400. This is exactly what I said, you stupid AI. That is the same of what I said, right? They are both rolling on 1D400, right? So it's exactly the same. It's typing a lot of text, but it's saying the same thing. I don't know why he's saying all of this. So basically, the point, I mean, this is bullshit. The point is that the game master needs to define a target difficulty, right? Yeah, which is this one, right? So we have, because just having the sense that, oh, 12% will not make it based on what, right? So we always have to define a target difficulty, whatever it is, knowing that the maximum is 400, right? So something that can be very hard or something that can be very easy. So you need to set the difficulty in both cases. I mean, what AI is saying here is complete bullshit, because the fact that you compare it like critical, strong, weak, barely success, it doesn't help anyone, right? It doesn't help anyone. I think the only solution is to have the GM needs to have in mind a difficulty, right? A difficulty target. A difficulty target. So, for example, the game master says, as a minimum, you need to do 50. You need to do 100, right? The problem I have is that if we decide a difficulty target of 100 and we let the player roll on a D400, it doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, I dislike what you say. I mean, you are on the wrong track, my friend. You are on the wrong track. The point is not to normalize the result to make it look more simple. The point is to have the game master define a difficulty factor, right? Example, to break through, let's say, to break through, or to bend the gate, to bend gate bars, right? To bend the gate bars, right? The GM decides the result should be at least 200, right? Because you know what Cyberpunk does? But how does it work really? Why I cannot open a new paint? Why I cannot open a new paint? Let me think about it 1 second, my boys, huh? Let me think about it 1 second. So in Cyberpunk you have between 1 and 10, right? Your characteristics go from 1 and 10. And then as a game master, I decide, right? I decide that the minimum roll is 15. And what you do, you roll against your stat that, for example, is 6 plus a d6. So what you do your stat plus, 1d10, right? 1d10. And so, for example, someone that has 6 and is rolling a 10, right? So someone that has a 6 and is rolling a 10 results in a 16, right? And someone that has I don't know, 10, so he's already at the maximum but rolls only a 3, right? Results in a 13, right? So basically the first person had a better result, even if he had a lower skill, because maybe he found the right spot to apply the force and was actually able to do it. But then there is the other case where the game master decides that the difficulty is 20, right? And if the difficulty is 20, means that a normal player without any boost, without any special abilities or such, he cannot do it, right? So it's basically impossible for him to do and to reach, right? And that is why, for example, in Cyberpunk, you have pieces of cyber hardware that boost your character, right? So cyber technology that boosts your character. So you may say, oh yes, I only have 6, but I have a bonus of 3 for whatever reason. And so maybe this guy will do 10 plus 3 plus the bonus, let's say, of 4. And at the end, he will do more than the other guy, even if he did a lesser roll. So, and it is due to a kind of a bonus that he has. So the problem is, and this is pretty much also the way basic D&D works, right? Because you have strength of 15, which gives you a +1 bonus on all the strength rolls, right? And so when you roll your strength, you add 1, right? Yeah, exactly. So basically your strength, so is scaled to a value that actually makes sense on a D20. So in theory we could do the same. Huh? So we could say, oh yes, the skill is between 1 and 400, but in reality, is divided by 50. So if you are lower than 50, you have 0 bonuses. If it's between 50 and 100, you have +1, then +2, +3, +4, and +5, right? And +6, I guess. And then and +7 and +8. So that number is added on your roll of a D20. This point is not to normalize the result to make it look more similar. The point is to have the GM define a difficulty factor. For example, to bend the gate bars, the GM decide the result should be at least 2-1. I think we can do it. The problem here is the scale. I'm thinking to do this. I'm thinking to do this. You roll a D20. I don't know if it's really reasonable, but I think it's kind of a solution, right? So the player rolls a D20. And adds a bonus to it based on the actual stat value divided by 50. So for example, if you have 200 strength, you get a +4 bonus, right? You get a +4 bonus. So this makes it very scalable on a D20, right? And it really equalizes the super strong player with the normal player. I mean, maybe equalizes a bit too much, but so yeah, so if you have 200 strength, you get a +4 bonus, right? So if you have a 300, let's make it more extreme, right? If you have a 300 strength, right, you get a +6 bonus, right? You get a +6 bonus. So a player with strength So a player with strength 50 and a player with strength 300, right? Strength 300 will try to bend the bars, right? The GM decides that the difficulty is the difficulty is 10. Okay, the difficulty is, well, 10 is very low, because the 10 is 50-50 without bonuses. Yeah, 10 is 50-50 without bonuses. 10 is 50-50 without bonuses. I think it's a bit low. So I may decide it, well, but we can do it, but difficulty is 10. I think the GM can even declare it, right? Can even declare how much is the difficulty. I think it's not a problem. He can declare it. I think he should declare it. I think he should say, you know, give it. So this is like the D&D system, right? This is like, well, in reality, no, it's not. It's more the cyber, but it's a mix, I think. But it's the, yeah, I think it's a mix. It's a mix of the two, actually. So the GM decides the difficulty is 10. And both players roll, right? So first player is basically 1d20 plus 1. And second player is 1d20 plus 6. Now the distance is not too much. Huh? I mean, if you do 1d10, is way stronger, right? Is way strong. I think with 1d10. So the distance is on a d20, the distance is 50%. Yeah, so the distance is tangible, but not insane. What is the right? So is a d20? Is a d20 correct? And the bonus of divided by 50 correct? What is the right balance, right? So the question is, what is the right balance? What is the right balance? Is the D20 a good choice? The AI is saying, is the D20 a good choice? Yes. The D20 is a classical choice because it's swingy. High randomness means every right player might succeed sometimes, some player may fail. It's fast, intuitive, well understood by most players. It gives a good spread, 120. Yeah, but why not a D10, for example? How to scale to the stat bonus. For every 1 point, 50 stats. Out of 400 plus 7. Ah, maximum plus 7, because we don't go to 401. Okay. Yes, for the D20 system. What if we use, what is, isn't better to use a D10? Typical DC spread 5 out of 30. Typical DC spread on a D10 is 3 up to 15. I don't know. How swingy you want it to be. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the question. The question is how swingy you want it to be. How swingy you want it to be. D20 is more swingy. Because a +1 on a D20 is only a 5% difference range. While on a D20 is a 10% range. So the maximum bonus that you can get is what? 45? I don't know. 35? 35, no? So here you get a maximum 35% swing. Here you get double of that. So you get a 70% swing. If you want the start bonuses to be more impactful, a D10 will do better. Yeah. Well, I can reduce the range, right? I can reduce the, instead of divided by 50, I can do divide by 25, and so now I have a 14 range. But I think it's going to be confusing, right? I want something that is easy, because all of this will be typed in the chat, so I don't want people to go crazy with roll 1/400, right? 1d400. I think it's just confusing everyone. I think they will never use it. While if it's 1d20, I think it's way more understandable. I think we can start with 1d20. Now, the only problem I have is with the 1d20 is if someone is +7 and someone is 0, right? The difference in strength is insane. Their difference in strength is insane. But on a d20 is still less than 50% of the impact. Right? Less than 50% on the impact. So I think it's really, really, really low. I don't understand why he's saying typical DC spread at 315, right? So in theory, if you have 10, if you roll a 10 and you have +7 bonus, well, yes, it's 17. Okay, yeah, I think it makes sense. I'm tempted to do a D20, but increasing the bonus. So that the bonus is divided 25. Because I think it is too little. So +7, you know, +7 is still, so +7 is still less than 50% on a D20, right? So a +7 gives you a 35% improvement over a flat roll. On a D10, +7 would dominate too fast, right? A d10 gives you 110. If you're adding plus 7, you're basically rolling a 817 against someone else that is rolling a 110. So yeah, you're basically super winning. But we are saying that these are two characters that are completely maxed out. I mean, new character versus maxed out, right? So for a task with DC 12, you almost cannot fail. The bonus quickly overweight the randomness. So the AI is really pushing for the D20, yeah? Okay, we can try with the D20 and plus 1 divided by 50. So example comparison, newbie, stats 50, bonus plus 1, rolls at 12, total 13, success fail on a DC 18, veteran 300, bonus plus 6, rolls at 14, total 20, success. Yeah, actually looking at this example, it convinced me. Looking at this example, it seems to be very balanced. You can confidently proceed with this. That is what it says. You can confidently proceed with this. Okay, so you like my idea. Basically, the AI gave me a completely fucked up idea, and then I gave it mine, and he said, yeah, it's a good idea. Okay, well, good. So for us, that means that we say, so we still scale on the D20, right? So we just have to decide the bonus, right? So the only thing that I have to decide is the bonus. So bonus every 50 points. Right? How do we round? We round normally or we round... how do we round? Round from 0 to 0, half from 0, what? I just want to round so that 1.4 is 1. Equidistant ties goes to the value which is further from 0. Minus 0.5 becomes minus 1, 0.5 becomes 1. And 0.4 becomes 1. What do you mean half from 0? From 0. Converts a floating point number to an integer which is further from 0, larger in absolute value. 0.1 becomes 1. No. This from 0 is a super stupid idea. To 0, half to even. Why? Isn't just the normal round what I want? half to even. No, I think it's just the normal round anyway. The normal round is doing what I want. The normal round is doing what I want. I think round to int is just doing what I want actually. Huh? I just want a normal round. Come on. Why so complex? A normal round. 0.4 goes to... I mean, I'm even fine with 0.5 going to 0. I mean, it's pretty much the same. I think it doesn't know what to do with 0.5. So that's the question, right? If you want the 0.5 to 0 or the 0.5 to 1. But I don't really care about that. I just care that 0.4 doesn't become 1, right? Which I think is probably what this is doing. Or what this is doing. I don't know, we can test it. We can test it, it's fine with me. I mean, it's the same. So, but anyway, so we take the stats, right? So, and we get the value. Now, do we get the boosted value? Yeah, we get the boosted value, right? So, we want the boosted value. So, we want to get... how do I get the rank of this thing? Ah no, wait, this is just the skill. No, I need to do it with my client, huh? Yeah, sorry. I need to do client get rank, get skill rank. Yes, exactly. And then I need my PS skill, which is my found skill ID. Yep. And then I need to get base buff current. I think current, right? Current is giving me the current value with buffs. Right? And current is returning what? Bro, I'm starting to be annoyed by this. Can I just do round like in the old ways or not? Yeah. So round, I think round is just doing it. This fmat, I think is a bit weird. Oh shit. Exactly. No, it doesn't say 5.5. Okay, the 5 goes to max. Okay, it's fine for me. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So you have more bonuses than less bonuses. I think it's fine. Okay. So we take this current thing and we divide it by 400. No. We divide it by 50, sorry. We divide it by 50, right? and then we round it. If is a stat, we give a bonus every 25 points, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, so at this point, okay, so we know the bonus, and then we need to roll a d20, right? So we roll a d20. No. So we roll between 1 and 20. Right? I don't know if there was this rand range like this, right? But it's still a thing. No, it's not a thing anymore. Eh? I mean, to me, the only important point is that it's not returning. Okay, it's returning an integer. Okay, so we do the roll. We add the roll to the bonus, right? And this is my result. And then we have to tell the client what happened, right? But we have to broadcast it to everyone, so we have to do the same multicast that we do here, right? So it's something like this. It's something like this, very, 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 very similar to that. So is player blah 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 has rolled. I would say we can directly say has rolled a d20, right? He's rolled a d20, or we can say player blah 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 performed, and then we can say an agility strength, the skill, a strength check. We can say a stats or a skill. So let me do this. If he's a stat, or if he's right, or if he's a skill. Because we have two different. I think it's likely different text, right? So player blah 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 performed the stat check on, for example, strength. A stat check on strength, right? I think it would be nice to say succeeded or failed. Player blah blah blah. Ah no, we don't know if he succeeded because depends on the difficulty factor. Player blah 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 performed a stat check on strength, rolled 1d20. I don't know if it's too long, with bonus of percentage D in a total result of percentage D, right? So it will be player character full name, perform a stat check on, well, in theory here I can say stat or skill. Yeah, exactly. So it's only one. It's only one thing. Yeah, I think we can do it this way. It's simpler. So player blah 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 performed, and here we can say if is stat, right? Then we put text skill. No, put stat. Otherwise, we put text skill. On. No, otherwise, or we can say directly a strength check. Yeah, probably is easier. Without doing all this mess. Yeah, the only problem is A or N, like agility should be N, A, right? It works only for agility. Well, for everything that starts with a vowel. But, so it will be like a agility check. Or I can say performs the check on, maybe like this it works. Player perform the check on blah blah blah. So I don't need this, huh? I need just what? I need the skill name. I need found skill name. Rolled 1d20 with a bonus of blah. Rolled 1d20 with a bonus of bonus and the total result of result. I think is enough, no? Multicast. Go. It is done. And return. If it's not a stat, okay, I think it may work, guys. It may work. I think it may work. I think it's simple enough. And the only problem is that the game master needs to declare the difficulty factor before, right? The only problem of declaring the difficulty factor is that it's an out of character action. So in the sense that if you are role playing and you have to say, oh, I want to force the door, right? Or I want to bend the bars of the gate. And the game master needs to tell you, please do a strength check. You know what could be nice? Is that the game master can force... Ah, this is even better, boys. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that the game master can actually do the check himself for the player. It's a bit of a pity because the player is not rolling, but the game master is rolling. But it's still visible to everyone, I guess. Maybe in the future I will move it to the GM. Or anyway, because if the GM could say /roll, target, for example, hula. So slash roll hula, strength, and then he can also put the DC 15. They will basically do it. It's a pity because the player is not rolling anything and it looks like he's not playing, right? Yeah, I think that's the problem. I see. Okay, compile. Let's see what it does. I don't know if it will work, but maybe. Maybe it will. Pom, 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 pom. Pom, 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 pom. Da-da-dum. Are we loading in production? I think we are. Okay, so it was not needed, but fine. You didn't tell me, guys, if you play role-playing games normally, or you played in the past. I watched a little. This function reminds me of D&D. Yeah, it does. It is. It is basically a way for people to use their skills and stats, not in a inside a game, right? Without doing the actual action, but role playing the act. For example, right? For example, let me make this a bit bigger so we see what happens. Under options, chat, interface, font size, chat text +4. Boom. Okay. So if I roll and then I just say blah 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 blah. Okay, it's giving me the syntax, which is very nice. Okay, if now I say roll agi, no, let's do it correct first. Agility, right? Agility. So agility, I have 200 out of 400, right? So I have a bonus of 5 or 4. Well, 3 or 4. So if I roll agility, fuck, it didn't work. Why? No. Okay, we have to debug it because I have no idea why it's bailing out. Because in theory, it's doing a check that there is at least one word and that the word is not a number. So I assume that... first of all, I did a mistake here. There should be 1, by the way. This one should be 1. Also, this one should be 1. Okay, yeah, there was the mistake. That is the mistake. Okay, let's redo it. Let's redo it, my boys. Let me just go normal database, not crazy database, so that it loads faster, right? So that it loads faster. Okay, let me recompile. Yeah, they were because they start from 0, and the first word is /roll. Do you play Dungeons and Dragons, or did you play Dungeons and Dragons in the past? I think it's one of the best games in existence. Obviously, you need people to play with, so which is a problem, because you may not always have, you know, people available and such, but you have the book, but you don't know others that play. I think there are, depending on your language, right? There are groups, right, that you can find in your town, mainly in local shops or places like that. So you have to reach out for local gaming associations. But usually there are you know, events in pretty much in every city, unless you are in a very small village and maybe start to be tough. Then at that point you have to just make a friend next to you and explain him. And explain him what it is. I think there are also some online, obviously, right? So there are some online groups that do that. But I think doing it online with someone that you know in real life, I think is doable. But doing it with someone that you don't even know, I think it's kind of hard to get the right, you know, feeling and the right... I mean, if you have video on, yes, but if you have video, maybe. I mean, you need to get and know the person, but... Okay, /roll agility. Player Roller Roshan performed a check on agility, rolled a d20 with bonus of 0 and a total result of 8. Very nice. Is it true that I have 0 bonus? Yes, because I'm at 47. Aha! I don't know if it's too long. I don't know if it's too... I don't know if the text is too long, right? Because imagine you have many people doing the check. You have all this freaking text. Maybe we can make it shorter. If I do intelligence, for example, right? So I do a check on intelligence. And I say only int. Because I want to use the... yeah, it worked. The int actually worked. Player roller performed a check on intelligence, rolled a d20 with a bonus of 4 and a total result of 21. Holy shit! I did 17, boys, with the dice. I don't know if I want to show the roll. I think it's nice to show the roll, to show the 17, right? I think it's nice to show the roll, the result. I mean, the fact that you rolled the 17. You know, instead of performed a check on intelligence, I think we can just say checks on intelligence, or rolls on intelligence. Because this performed check, it seems to be extremely long, right? We can say player rolls on intelligence with a bonus of whatever, and then we can say result is roll is rolls on intelligence. Player rolls on intelligence with a bonus of 4. Result is or roll or the roll is the roll is 17 for a total of 21. Player, well, player, what is my name? L'errore. Oh my god, my name is insane. L'errore shu something. Shorurar, okay, shoru whatever. Rolls on intelligence. I don't know if I like rolls on intelligence or checks into rolls 4. Rolls on or rolls 4? I don't know. Rolls on intelligence with a bonus of 4. Roll is 17 for a total of 21. Is it okay or rolls on intelligence? Now I think probably I want to put the bonus later. Roll is 17. You know what we can say? We can say like this. We can say plus 4 bonus for a total of 21. Is this too many numbers too close to each other? I think like this is very compact. I think like this is very nice. Yeah, I think I would do it like this. I think I will do it like this. So player, wait. Player blah 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 rolls on. Can you tell me, someone of you that is English speaking, native English speaking, if he's rolls on or rolls 4? Rolls on intelligence. Roll is 17, and then we can say plus percentage D bonus for a total of, okay, so name, skill, result, no, I need the roll, bonus, and result. Okay. Let me try like this. I think like this is cool. I just need to test the skills and say. So the game master needs to decide the difficulty. No, you have the two. you can press R for auto run, and then C, and just move the mouse. No? Maybe one day I will put also the other mode where the camera follows the character. But I remember I tried to do it, but I struggled a bit to find out how to do it. In theory, it should be simple, but it was not simple when I tried. I think I want to change the sprint as a toggle. What do you think about it? I think it's a good idea. I always wanted to do it. I don't know why I never did it, but I think the sprint. I mean, I think holding shift to sprint is very annoying, while you can just toggle it on and off. No? Bah. So we are transforming this game into a real role-playing game now. Fantastic. I love that. So I do roll Agi. Holy shit, there was a bad one. Holy moly. Yeah, let's say that the GM should allow rerolls when he wants to do it, right? I mean, he may decide that you may reroll or not, right? He may decide that there is a time limit and something may happen. And if you don't do it in time, the stuff change. I think one day I will start to do events in game myself, right? I think I will. And I will also use voice. I don't know why we don't use voice. I think we should use voice all the time in game. We have voice in game. I don't know if it works well, but we have it. Okay, let's try. So if I do, for example, light armor, right? Very nice. Fantastic. It works pretty much whatever I type, right? Fantastic. Fantastic. The system is very easy to use. Very, very easy to use. Now, I don't know if we should really penalize the fact that, I mean, the skills where you really have 0, right? Because I mean, if you have 0, means that you don't even know how to do it, right? So if you are... Do you think we should lock the 0 or not? So that, for example, mace and hammer, right? So, or I don't know, let's go magic right away, right? So I ask someone to roll on a skill where he has 0. And do you think he should still be able to roll, or do you think that he should not be allowed? I can give you a mega malus, right? But still, I mean, if you have 0, I can give you a -5. I don't know. Or we could just say nope. You cannot do it. I think yeah, I think if you have 0, I will not allow you to roll. I think I will give a message like you have no knowledge on this skill, and I mean it obviously will work only for skills and not for stats. But I think if you are really at 0, I think you should not be allowed to roll. I think it makes no sense. So we will add another check, and so if it's a skill roll, so if it's not a stat, and character and client get skill rank found skill ID current. Name. And current skill rank equal to 0. Then we will return. I think in this case we will return to the player only. Right? We return to the player only. I don't think we should send it to everyone, right? I think we just spam, and if he cannot do it, he cannot do it. So we'll do this. Would still be nice though to have at least telling him what is the skill, right? So we will say you know nothing about, you have no knowledge in %s, so you cannot perform this role. I don't know if I want to call it roll or I want to call it check, because I think the check is a bit, you know. But anyway, it's fine. So the skill is what? Is skill name, huh? The skill name. Okay. Okay, nice. Okay, let's try now. So now we should also have the check for 0. Should also have the check for 0, my boys. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, if we could increase the roleplay capabilities, I think would be nice. I think this one is a good one. I don't know if people will use it or not, but I think it's a very good one. If the game master uses properly, right? I think it's kind of cool. I think it would be nice if people would organize their own roleplay session within Planeshift instead of on another platform, right? I mean, in theory, instead of going to Foundry, VTT, or to, you know, the other tools, you could enter Planeshift and roleplay there. Now you don't have everything but you don't have, you know, the full imagination of a game master. But still, if you have a game master, it's doable. Interesting. The problem is that the GM, I mean, if you have multiple GMs and multiple adventures going on at the same time, it may be confusing for some people. No, I clicked the wrong button. Okay, guys, I'm about to go, but let's do this last test, and I think we did it. So it took like 2 hours, but I mean, there was more reasoning than programming for sure. But I think the solution that we end up with, I think, is a good solution. I think it's a good solution. I like it. And also, I like the way I did the parsing of the text, right? You can write light armor, or you can write only light, or you can write only LEG, right? So the first 3 letters, and whatever it takes, right? And it allows you to roll, so which is very nice. I think the GM declares the difficulty factor. What DC stands for is difficulty check, right? But it should be difficulty factor actually, not difficulty check. Difficulty class. Okay, difficulty class. Got it. Okay, here we are, my boys. Here we are. So we are testing on knives and daggers. There we have 0. So the game should tell me I cannot. You have no knowledge in knife and daggers, so you cannot perform this roll. Okay, do it on X. Did I have only 1? Wow, I did a 12. So I swing my axe anyway, shoo, 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 somehow. And I did anyway a 12. Fantastic. Very nice. Very nice. I like that. Wait. Let me do a screenshot for Wajet so he understands how it works. Para pa pa para pa pa param. Yeah, I have to explain the bonuses a bit, but no, what is that? Oh wait, this freaking, let me remove this because it's just confusing. So yeah, I have to explain a bit how this works, but it's done, guys. It's done. Fantastic. So the GM decides difficulty class. Example, I think it's better difficulty factor. Why difficulty class? But anyway, difficulty, a difficulty. Example 10. So let's say that you have to walk on a rope between two houses. Okay? The GM decides the difficulty, decides which stat or skill to use and a difficulty. Example, agility 10. Right? Example, agility 10. Agility difficulty 10. Right? The players do slash roll agility. GM evaluates the result. Right? Now for stats, the roll is 1d20 plus the bonus given by the stat or skill from 1 to 7. From +1 to +7. From +1 to +7. For skills, if you have a 0 rank, you cannot roll. It's a bit of an evil rule, but I think it's a meaningful rule, right? I think it's a meaningful rule. Yeah. Yep. It's done, boys. It's done. You didn't think I could do it, but I did it. You couldn't think I could do it, but I did it. You were skeptical, I know, but I did it. I did it anyway, and it works. Incredible enough, it works. It does. Okay, okay, that's it. That's it, my boys. Yeah, apart from that, it works the same way, right? So you can roll. So basically, skills work the same way, right? So I can roll what? Crystal Way, I can roll Herbalism, I can roll, right? Oh fuck, I cannot roll Herbalism, why? Ah, because it's Herbal. Fuck. No, I have no knowledge. Why? No. Ah, much better. Okay. So my boys, I think it's about time. It's about time to go. I'm just trying to create this explanation so that people can read it, but apart from that, it works the same way, right? Exactly. Exactly. Wow, I roll a 10 on Herbal. Holy shit. 10 is a lot. Now the GM may decide to have you re-roll if he wants, right? If he wants to give you multiple attempts, he can, obviously. Yeah. Are we starting a new trend of real roleplay inside an MMO? Maybe. Maybe I can add more feature like this. I think that this feature I kind of like. Okay guys, have a good night. Bye. I will see you tomorrow. I don't know what we will do tomorrow, but we will do something else. I don't know what. But we will do something. Don't worry. Bye. We did it. We did it. It's working. Look at this shoulders are a bit disjoint, but anyway. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Remember to follow, huh? Follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, download the game. Do it. What do you mean you don't understand what it's all about? Okay, maybe later. Maybe they will explain you in